This video will be covering a little bit of the science behind distance running and how to find where your weakness is to help you maximize your potential when it comes to distance running. So your VO2 max is the maximum amount of oxygen your body can utilize. And the best way to improve this number here is by running intervals where you go 3 minutes on and 3 minutes off and repeat that 4 times, and do that at your 12-minute race pace. I'll explain more details about that later in the video. And then for improving your running economy, improving your 100-meter dash time will help you out a lot with that. And just improving your running form will help you out a lot too, because you'll be more efficient. Now, being able to clear blood lactic faster and improving on your aerobic base will also help you out a lot too when it comes to distance running. But for this specific video, we'll be talking a lot about VO2 max and running economy. So you can see here that if you know which one you need more room for improvement, whether it's VO2 max that you need to improve on or running economy, it would be very crucial here to know this information so you can do the proper training you need to do to improve on your weakness. You got a lot more potential when it comes to improving on your weakness than on what you're already good at. So the first assessment you're going to do here is you're going to run as far as you can in 12 minutes. So you want to kind of pace yourself here, and you want to see how much distance you can cover in 12 minutes. This right here is known as the Cooper test. So if you're an elite runner, you'll probably be covering like 2.5 to 3 miles, maybe even more than 3 miles. And if you're someone that just runs for fun, you might cover maybe between 1 to 2 miles in that 12 minutes. Now, it's very important that when you record this, you get it down to the 100th of a mile. So your number should be like 1.56. or like 2.77 or like 0.89. Basically, what I'm saying is you shouldn't just estimate it, but be more precise. Then you're going to plug this distance number into a formula to get your predicted VO2 max. So let's say, for example, you get exactly 1.5 miles. You covered that much distance in that 12 minutes. You're going to take your 1.5 times it by 26.82 and then solve that part first and then add 3.5. So in this example here on the left, your estimated VO2 max would be 43.73. Now let's say you cover exactly 3 miles in that 12 minutes. So you're an elite runner. So you take that 3, you times it by 26.82, and then you solve that part first, and then add the 3.5, and this right here comes out to an estimated VO2 max of 83.96. So it's very important that you do this assessment first and get this number here, your estimated VO2 max, first. Now, the next thing you need to do is you need to get your VO2 max tested in the lab. So if you're an elite runner, you should get easy access to this. If you have a lifetime membership, depending on what lifetime you go to, one of the trainers there might be able to test your VO2 max. So when you get your VO2 max tested, it should look something like this. Basically, the ratio of oxygen and carbon dioxide for the air that's coming out will allow you to find out how much oxygen the muscles are utilizing. Now you can see on the screen here, I say VO2 max tested in the lab equals just lab VO2 max, and then 12-minute time trial, the Cooper test, or you run as hard as you can for 12 minutes and see how much distance you can cover, that number will be called CT VO2 max. The reason I'm just abbreviating them like that because we're going to need those two numbers here and put them into a formula at the end of the video. So just keep that in mind here. So now the last thing you need to do is take that number from the first assessment where you did that 12-minute race pace run where you tried to see how much distance you can cover. So take that VO2 max from the final calculation. So you can see on the left here and the right, you can see the 43.73 and 83.96. Back from the beginning, we were using those two numbers as the example. So if you remember, the 43.73 was the estimated VO2 max of covering 1.5 miles in the 12 minutes, and the 83.96 was an example of covering the 3 miles in the 12 minutes. So you take that number, you got your predicted VO2 max from the first assessment, and then subtract that number from the actual VO2 max from the second assessment, the VO2 max when you got tested in the lab. So let's say, for example, your actual VO2 max was 41.5. even though your predicted from the 12-minute race pace test was 43.73. Well, you take that and you subtract the actual VO2 max, the one from the lab, the second assessment, and then you just find out what that equals. So here it came out to 2.23. Now, let's say, for example, instead it came out to 47. Well, again, just subtract it from the first assessment, the 12-minute race pace test. And right here, when you take the 43.73 minus it by 47, it comes out to negative 3.27. So on the other side, let's say, for example, from the Cooper test back when you got 83.96 as your predicted VO2 max. Let's say that your actual VO2 max was 83.5. You would take your predicted VO2 max, 83.96, minus it by 83.5, and here it comes out to 0.46. Now, let's say instead your actual VO2 max that you got tested in the lab comes out to 84.5. You again take your predicted VO2 max, the one from the 12-minute race pace, and which is 83.96, minus it by 84.5, the actual VO2 max that you got tested in the lab, and here it comes out to negative 0.54. So negative 0.54 is your running economy. It's what we calculated for your running economy. So the whole point of doing these two assessments and all these calculations is to find your running economy. So now on the top right, that calculation there for your running economy, we got 0.46. On the left bottom one, we got negative 3.27. That's what we got for the running economy. And then the top left, we got 2.23 for the running economy. So why is this important? It's the information you need to know where your strength is and where your weakness is. So basically, if you have a positive number for your running economy, this means your running economy is better compared to your VO2 max. So your training should focus a little more on improving your VO2 max. Whereas if your number's in the negatives, it means you need to focus a lot more on improving your running economy, but you have a good VO2 max for where your running economy's at. So if you remember from the beginning of the video, we talked about how factors that play into running economy are your 100-meter dash time and overall your running form. And yeah, there's a few other minor factors too, but those are the two main ones. So if your number comes out in the negative, you probably have more potential to improve your time because you got some work to do on your form. So you want to record your form and make sure you're doing good there and make sure you're making improvements there. And then also you want to improve your 100-meter dash time. So do some sprints, do some power training in the gym, try to see if you can cut some time off there. Now, if your number's in the positives, again, you need to improve your VO2 max. So every 1 to 2 months, you should get your VO2 max tested in the lab, see if you're making improvements there, and do the proper training to improve that. So that would mean doing a lot of training at your 12-minute race pace. So for example, you could do 3 minutes on and 3 minutes off, and repeat that 4 times. And this would be at the pace of your VO2 max, around that pace where you perform that Cooper test at. Now, some disclaimers here. I haven't got a chance to actually test this formula with athletes. I'm not a running coach. I'm just a NASM certified personal trainer. And I came up with these numbers by taking the ACSM speed to VO2 max formula. And then I did some of my own calculations within that formula to come up with these numbers here. So if you have a coach, make sure you just listen to what your coach tells you. Basically, the purpose of this video is to just show you how to do some assessments to see where you're at with your running, where you need to improve at, and what different types of training you can do to improve on those certain weaknesses. But we didn't really get much into detail on that in this video. That would be for a different video. Now, I have many other videos covering different types of fitness assessments you can do and some playlists with those assessments explaining how to prescribe the exercises you should do based off the results you got from those assessments. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check out those videos. Make sure you hit that like button if you found this helpful, and make sure you subscribe because I'm going to come out with other videos on different types of assessments you can do to help you find more information about your body so you can find the best exercises that'll fit your individual needs and get you to your fitness goals. Also, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments.